Good morning, students. Hope you remember what you learnt about the use of the verb in the simple present tense in lesson 3. Now, let us see the verb in the simple past tense. The simple past or past indefinite is also called as the second form of the verb. They are formed in different ways. Look at a few examples: sing, sang, write, wrote, come, came, sit, sat, stand, stood, buy, bought, bring, brought, go, went, ride, rode, eat, ate, ring, rang, ask, asked, type, typed, and so on. All these verbs are called as infinitives and are used to talk about actions completed at a point of time in the past. Study a few examples of the past tense. I wrote the entrance test well. She played with her friends. My mother took me out yesterday. They brought their dog along with them. She sang the song. We went out last week. My friends came home yesterday. The boys completed their homework in school. The children greeted their teacher. Now, if you look at these sentences very carefully, you will notice that the verb is in the past tense and there is a past point of time also mentioned in the sentences. For example, when you look at sentence 3, my mother took me out yesterday. So, yesterday is the past point of time and therefore the verb is in the past tense. Similarly, we have a sentence, we went out last week. So last week is the past point of time. So whenever we have a past point of time, either identified specifically or even as understood, then the verb is used in its past tense. From the given examples, I am sure you would have noticed that the spelling of the verbs is very different. A few of the verbs have undergone a change in the vowel. Some others have a suffix added, such as d or ed or t, and a few others have an altogether different spelling, as in brought, went, etc. Most of these are irregular verbs. This is because we have the regular verbs and irregular verbs as mentioned in the very first lesson verb forms. But there's nothing to worry. With a little practice, you will soon master the verb in its simple past tense. Here there is an important point to note. Regular verbs form their simple past tense by adding the suffix ed to the root or base verb, as in walk plus ed gives us walked, ask plus ed gives us asked, wait plus ed gives us waited, stay plus ed gives us stayed, and so on. When we come to the irregular verbs, we can see that there is a lot of difference. Bring becomes brought, run becomes ran, get changes into got, go becomes went, and buy becomes bought. However, there is no change in certain verbs such as cut, put, beat, etc. Now, let's talk about the uses of the simple past tense. The first most common use is to talk about a completed action in the past. That means any action that started and finished at a particular point of time in the past. The speaker may also mention the specific point of time they have in mind. Well, let's look at the following examples. He wrote the entrance exam last month. So we have a point of time here, last month. Therefore, the verb has to be in the second form, that is the simple past tense. She baked the cake yesterday. We went to a movie last night. Did you go out yesterday? So in all these sentences, you see that there is a specific point of time, and because of that, the verb is in its second form, that is what we call as the simple past tense. The second use of simple past tense is to talk about a series of completed actions. That means actions that took place one after the other at a point of time in the past. Let's look at the examples. The first one, he arrived from the airport at 8, checked into the hotel at 9, and met his friends at 10 a.m. Here we find that 3 actions have been done in the past and all 3 actions are completed. Therefore, the verbs are in their simple past form. Look at the second example. He sang and played the guitar. Again, we have a series of 2 actions. The third sentence, they packed their luggage and vacated the house. The fourth sentence, I read the lesson and completed the homework. Fifth sentence, he came, saw, and conquered the land. So in all these sentences, you see that we have a series of actions. That means more than one action is present there. And all these actions have been completed in the past point of time. We can also use the simple past tense to talk about a duration in the past. This means that we can use the simple past tense to talk about an action that took place in the past for a longer period of time. And that period of time is also known as a duration. For example, a year, 3 years, 10 minutes, all day, all year, etc. Take a look at the examples. I lived in London for 3 years. The children practiced the drama for 1 hour. She worked all day long. She waited all year for her visa. How long did you wait for your friends? Now, in all these examples, you notice that the point of time is past, therefore the verb is in the simple past tense, and the duration or period of time is given to us. And the period of time is also something that has happened in the past. Therefore, we have to use the simple past tense. The fourth use is habits in the past. We use the simple past to talk about habits that we had in the past. That means now we do not have that habit. This is similar to the verb used to. To make it clear that we are talking about a habit, we often add expressions such as always, often, usually, never, when I was a child, when I was younger, etc. Take a close look at the examples. He always woke up early in the morning. That means now he is not doing so, but he did it in the past. When he was younger, he played a lot. They used to visit us very often when they lived in Hyderabad. He used to eat a lot of ice cream. So you notice that all these habits occurred in the past, but they do not occur in the present. Therefore, we use the simple past tense to talk about past habits. The fifth use is to talk about past facts or generalizations. The simple past can also be used to describe past facts or generalizations which are no longer true. Here also we can use the verb used to. Look at the examples. As a child she was shy, but now she is not like that. He didn't like to eat tomatoes before. Did you live in Texas when you were a kid? People used to pay much more to make cell phone calls in the past. Now, all these sentences, they are talking about facts, but these are facts which occurred in the past and not in the present. Now we come to the end of this lesson, and here there is an important point to note. When we talk about imagined situations in the present or future, we can use the simple past tense. For example, I wish I had more time. If I were a bird, I would fly away. If I won the lottery, I would buy a new house. I wish I could go to the United States of America. These are all the different ways in which the simple past tense can be used. Well, there are certain other situations which will be discussed in other lessons. And one important point here is that you might have noticed that all these are imagined conditions. And therefore, when we talk about conditional clauses, we will once again talk about the use of the simple past tense. So until then, enjoy talking about the past.